Okay, today is Wednesday, 9th of April 2025, about midday, air temperature 23 degrees centigrade, 73 Fahrenheit, a bit cloudy with a few sunny intervals, but quite pleasant weather. Now, this is a tub that I've painted inside with some waterproofing compound, just to make sure there are no toxic substances leaching out, because I think the tub has had reconstituted plastic. And then I put MEDAKA in here that I really don't want to breed from, and they're all happy and surviving well. Now, with high summer temperatures, heavy rainfall in my subtropical climate, I like to use relatively deep tubs, which, because of the high rainfall particularly, which means it really needs to provide aeration. And up until now, I was using small sponge filters like this. But these sponge filters got infested with, some of them anyway, got infested with hair algae. So in recent videos I've said I'm phasing out the sponge filters and throwing them away and using these DIY internal filters like this instead. However, I've changed my mind. I'll use the internal filters in the larger tubs, like this is a larger one, but I've decided to revive the sponge filters for use in smaller tubs. So I managed to find some large sheet of foam, 20 mm, medium pore density, so it's quite relatively coarse pore size. The original sponge filters, very dense, very small pore size. They'd easily get clogged up, and maybe not so good if you've got low airflow going through. Not so good for the beneficial bacteria. Larger pore size like this will get better water flow through, and will probably make the beneficial bacteria much happier. So I cut the sponge into strips like this, and that's the sponge filter that I've taken where I've taken off the old sponge. That's what it looks like, and just wrap that strip new sponge around and fix it with a couple of zip ties like this. I love zip ties, magnificent invention. If you're improvising all sorts of DIY stuff, zip ties work extremely well, I think. So there are. It doesn't look very elegant, but in a MEDAKA tub it doesn't matter anyway. If you've got an indoor aquarium, you wanted something to look a bit better, then maybe you just go and buy a small coarse sponge filter. But this is fine and very cheap to revive or restore. So that's it. If the foam gets infested with hair algae again, it's easy enough just to take off this bit of sponge and put a new piece of sponge back on after maybe I've sterilized all the bits of the filter, all the plastic bits, sterilized with bleach. But then it's a question of having got a new filter, have to what they call cycle it, so you can grow enough beneficial bacteria on the surface area within the sponge, so it neutralizes the ammonia you get in the water produced by the fish. So it's called cycling, the nitrogen cycle, that sort of thing. Now normally it usually takes maybe several weeks to grow enough beneficial bacteria if you just put it in a tub, but there is a way of speeding up the process. I think particularly with MEDAKA that don't produce that much ammonia, if you haven't got very heavy stocking in a tub, this appears to work very well. So now an internet search will produce more details on fast cycling of aquarium filters, but this is how I do it. Okay. Now basically the thing is that beneficial bacteria will grow very fast under conditions of high temperatures, high aeration, which means high water flow through the sponge, and high pH. So I'll not actually do it, but this is how I do it. So I put the sponge filter in a bucket of water. Okay. To get high temperatures, I put in a heater to heat it up to about 30 degrees centigrade. So that's one factor. To get high water flow through the sponge, I connect it up to just about maximum airflow you can get through there, so it's really bubbling away very fast. So we got high temperature, high water flow, and then to get high pH, have a small piece of coral and throw that in. And then the next step is to seed the water with some existing beneficial bacteria. Now this is some mulm I got from my pond filter. You can see it's the fluffy brown stuff. I don't actually measure how much I put in, but I maybe put a couple of tablespoonfuls or something like that of this brown stuff in there, and then you've already put in some of the beneficial bacteria, which will get lodged in the pores of the sponge and will hopefully grow very fast. And then the bacteria need something to feed on, if you like. Feed is not the right word, but need something to feed on so they grow, and they need ammonia. So for that I put enough ammonia in there, which is equivalent to maybe 15 MEDAKA in a tub. I think MEDAKA produce about 1 milligram of ammonia per day. If I've got maximum 15 MEDAKA in a tub, that's 15 milligrams of ammonia the bacteria have to deal with. So I put in 15 milligrams of ammonia. Now the various things you find on the internet will maybe show you how to do that. You can buy bottles of pure ammonia, I think, from hardware stores, but it's got to be pure ammonia. It doesn't want soap in it or anything like that. But I actually use ammonium chloride, which is a powder, quite cheap to get, easy to get, and ammonium chloride has about 30% of ammonia in it. So if I want 15 milligrams of ammonia, I need 50 milligrams of ammonium chloride. It dissolves very quickly, and so it's quite easy to do. So what I do to get it, you only need very, very small amount of ammonium chloride. I have a bottle like this, which is 100 milliliters. Fill it up with water, put in a gram of of ammonium chloride, and that will give me if I take out 5 milliliters of the solution, 5 millimeters of the water, will give me 50 milligrams of ammonia put in there. So I got 20 doses of 50 milligrams of ammonium chloride in here. If I take out 5 milliliters at a time, I'll just use one of these pipettes or something to measure out approximately 5 millimeters, and then leave it for 5 or 6 days. Usually, if I test the water after 5 days, if I'm maintaining high water flow, high temperature, high pH, after about 5 days, enough bacteria will have grown that all the ammonia has disappeared. If I don't test it, well, I leave it about a week and then just assume that there's enough bacteria have grown and put it in a tub. And if I really want to sort of make sure, I will put in another 15 milligrams of ammonia and test it after 24 hours just to make sure there's enough bacteria neutralizing at 15 milligrams of ammonia. I'll just say one thing. If I'm going to put a new filter in a tub like this, which is very mature, it's got lots of beneficial bacteria growing all around on the surface of the tub, I won't worry too much if the new filter isn't quite cycled. However, this is complete, I've cleaned out this tub, completely clean, scrubbed it out, completely clean water, then I'd be more cautious about putting in a filter which might not have been cycled enough, or maybe just keep a few fish in there, just to be a bit more cautious. Now, this is all very approximate, but it seems to work okay. But anyway, keeping MEDAKA outdoors with all the variable conditions, you've got weather, temperatures, predators, etc, etc, etc. Everything is very approximate anyway. If you find something that works, then it's good just to continue with it. And this cycling method for these new filters seems to work okay for me. Okay.